Hi guys, I'd like to talk about narcissistic personality disorder. It's a complex mental health condition characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance and preoccupation with fantasies of success and power. A deep need for admiration. Individuals with NPD often exhibit a grandiose self-image, a lack of empathy, and a sense of entitlement that can lead to explosive and manipulative behaviors. At the core of NPD is a fragile ego, an underlying sense of insecurity. Narcissists may put on a facade of confidence and superiority, but deep down, they harbor a profound fear of being rejected or seen as inadequate. This fragility can lead to intense reactions to perceived slights or criticism, known as narcissistic injury. It's all about them. They got to get their way. The narcissist disorders sense of self. At the core of a narcissist personality is a profoundly disoriented sense of self. Narcissists often display a grandiose, inflated view of their own importance, abilities, and accomplishments. They may see themselves as superior, entitled, and deserving of special treatment, whilst simultaneously harboring a deep-seated sense of insecurity and fragility. This skewed self-perception leads them to seek constant validation and admiration from others as they struggle to maintain their illusionary sense of grandeur. Beneath the narcissist's confidence, boastful interior lies a fragile ego that is easily threatened. Any perceived slight or criticism can trigger an intense emotional reaction known as narcissist injury, which can manifest as anger, rage, or even feelings of humiliation. This hypersensitivity to perceived criticism or failure reflects the narcissist's inability to maintain a stable, realistic sense of self-worth. They can freak out at the slightest thing. Grandiosity and entitlement in narcissists. Narcissists possess an inflated sense of self-importance and a profound belief of their own superiority. They often display grandiose behaviors, convinced that they are exceptional, talented, and deserving of special treatment. This grandiosity manifests in their tendencies to exaggerate their accomplishments, take credit for the work of others, and demand admiration and praise from those around them. A deep-rooted sense of entitlement is another hallmark of narcissist personality. Narcissists believe that they are entitled to the best of everything, from material possessions to social status to attention. They may feel that the normal rules and expectations that apply to others do not apply to them. They may become enraged or feel deeply insulted when their demands are not met. Lack of empathy in narcissistic individuals. A defining characteristic of narcissist personality disorder is a profound lack of empathy. Narcissists struggle to understand or care about the feelings or experiences of others. They are often preoccupied with their own needs, desires, and a sense of self-importance, leaving little room for genuine concern or emotional attunement towards those around them. This empathy deficit can manifest in a variety of ways, such as a callous disregard for the needs of loved ones, an inability to recognize or respond to the distress of others, and a tendency to exploit or manipulate people for personal gain. Narcissists may appear charming or charismatic on the surface, but beneath the facade leads a profound emotional disconnect from the experiences of those they interact with. Manipulation and exploitive behaviors. Narcissists often employ manipulative and explosive tactics to maintain control and satisfy their insatiable need for admiration and invalidation. They may use deception, gaslighting, and emotional blackmail to manipulate their victims, distorting reality to suit their own agenda. Narcissists may deliberately create situations that elicit sympathy or pity playing the victim to gain attention and garner support from others. Triangulation is a common manipulation tactic where the narcissist pits people against each other to maintain power and control the narrative. Narcissists may exploit the emotional and financial resources of their victims, using them as a means to an end to fulfill their own desires. And we know people like this in our family. The scapegoat in a narcissist family. In a narcissist family dynamic, the scapegoat is often the child who bears the brunt of the narcissist's anger, criticism, or blame. The narcissist projects their own insecurities and flaws onto the scapegoat, making them the target of constant belittlement, gaslighting, and emotional abuse. The scapegoat is seen as the problem that the narcissist must control or get rid of in order to maintain their fragile sense of security and entitlement. Trapped in this toxic environment, the scapegoat may internalize the narcissist's criticism, feeling worthless, ashamed, and alone. This may isolate them from the rest of the family, denied any form of validation or support, and forced to take responsibility for the narcissist's own shortcomings. This relentless emotional abuse can have devastating long-term effects on the scapegoat's self-esteem, mental health, and the ability to form healthy relationships in the future. And we will talk about this. The role of the flying monkeys. In a narcissist family dynamic, flying monkeys are the individuals who are recruited by the narcissist to do their bidding. These flying monkeys may be other family members or even professionals like therapists and lawyers. The narcissist manipulates and exploits the flying monkeys, using them to carry out their agenda of control, punishment, and the continued abuse of the scapegoat. Yes, even therapists can be narcissists, and we will also talk about that. Flying monkeys often serve to isolate the scapegoat, spreading lies and misinformation to turn others against them, further enforcing the narcissist's position of power. They may be used to deliver messages, enforce the narcissist's demands, or enrage in emotional, psychological, or even physical harassment of the scapegoat. The flying monkeys may be rewarded with the narcissist's attention, validation, and a sense of belonging, further reinforcing their complicity in the abuse. Gaslighting and emotional abuse. Gaslighting is a particularly insidious form of emotional abuse employed by narcissists to systematically undermine their victim's reality and a sense of self by constantly denying facts, rewriting history, and making their victims question their own perception of the events. The narcissist maintains a strong hold over their target. This relentless psychological manipulation leaves the victim feeling confused, disoriented, and increasingly dependent on the narcissist's version of the truth. Emotional abuse is another hallmark of the narcissist relationship, as the narcissist seeks to control and dominate the partner through a range of destructive tactics: verbal attacks, public humiliation, silent treatment, and the withholding of affection and validation. All common forms of emotional abuse can be used by narcissists to chip away at their victims' self-worth and foster a sense of helplessness and isolation. They also use a financial. The truth teller and their challenges. In a narcissist family or relationship, the truth teller is often the individual who dares to challenge the narcissist's distorted reality and speak up against the abuse. These courageous souls often find themselves on the receiving end of the narcissist's wrath as they threaten the fragile ego and carefully crafted facade that the narcissist works tirelessly to maintain. Truth tellers face the daunting task of navigating a treacherous landscape where their honesty and transparency are met with gaslighting, smear campaigns, and attempts at isolation and silencing. They may be labeled as crazy, ungrateful, and disloyal by the narcissist and their flying monkeys, further undermining their credibility and leaving them feeling increasingly alone and misunderstood. The emotional toll of standing up to a narcissist is immense, as truth tellers must confront their own self-doubt, the loss of family, social connections, and the exhaustion of constantly fighting against the narcissist's distorted reality, especially when you live in a small community. The cycle of idealization and devaluation. At the core of a narcissist relationship lies a toxic cycle of idealization and devaluation. Initially, the narcissist may shower their partner with intense adoration, lavishing them with praise, attention, and a sense of being special. This phase of idolization serves to hook the victim, making them feel valued and worthy of the narcissist's affection. However, this facade is merely a manipulation tactic, as a narcissist's true goal is to establish control and maintain a constant flow of the narcissist's supply. Inevitably, the narcissist's idealization gives way to devaluation, where the partner is suddenly subjected to criticism, belittlement, and emotional abuse. The narcissist may find even in the smallest things becoming hypersensitive to any perceived imperfections or transgressions. This cycle of building up and tearing down their partner is a means for the narcissist to maintain a false sense of superiority and to keep their victims in a state of constant emotional turmoil and uncertainty. Narcissist injury and rage. Narcissists have an extremely fragile sense of self, and their grandiose self-image is constantly under threat. Any perceived slight criticism or lack of idolization can trigger a profound narcissist injury, where the narcissist feels deeply wounded, humiliated, and enraged. When faced with narcissistic injury, the narcissist often lashes out with intense, disproportionate anger and aggression. They may enrage in smear campaigns, seek to punish and discredit their offender, or even resort to physical violence in extreme cases. And narcissistic rage is a defense mechanism and desperate attempt to regain a sense of control and maintain their fragile ego. We've been there too. Isolation and alienation from narcissists. One of the most devastating effects of being in a relationship with a narcissist is the profound sense of isolation and alienation it can create. Narcissists thrive on maintaining control and dominance, and they often systematically work to cut their victims off from sources of support and understanding. They will cut off your family and friends. By discrediting, gaslighting, and manipulating those around the victim, the narcissist can successfully turn friends, family, and even professionals against the person they're abusing. This leaves the victim feeling utterly alone with no one to turn to for validation or assistance. The narcissist's flying monkeys further compound this isolation as they actively work to reinforce the narcissist's distorted narrative and keep the victim isolated and powerless. They can even affect their financial and make phone calls. Healing and recovery from narcissistic abuse. Recovering from the trauma of narcissistic abuse is a challenging but vital journey. It requires deep self-reflection and a cultivation of healthy boundaries and a reclamation of one's own sense of identity and worthiness. Through counseling, support groups, and the embracing of self-care practices, survivors can begin to mend the wounds inflicted by the narcissist's manipulation and cruelty. Learning to trust oneself and others again is a gradual process, but with patience and perseverance, the survivor can rebuild their self-esteem and find the strength to break free from the narcissist hold. Cultivating a supportive network of trusted allies, setting firm boundaries, and challenging the narcissist's distorted narratives are all crucial steps on the path to healing and recovery. And this is where I am now. Navigating the narcissist landscape. As we come to the end of our exploration of narcissism, it is clear that it is a complex and challenging landscape to navigate. However, with a deeper understanding of the dynamics at play and the tools to protect oneself, it is possible to find a path towards and reclaim one's sense of self-worth. We've been through a lot of that. We have a lot of that in the family, and it continued in abusive relationships afterwards. It's a lot to unpack and a lot of videos, and we will get into that in the future. Stay tuned.